So for part four, I want to talk about another paradigm, and here we're getting into more qualitative methods. And this one is called interpretivist, or it can be called constructivist. So these are just worldviews, remember. They're not methods, they're just worldviews that a researcher might have in terms of how they look at a research question. So the interpretivist or constructivist paradigm opens scientific research to studying subjective meanings of a phenomenon, such as experiences, beliefs, or how people experience issues. So as you see here, I've got a picture of a bunch of people, and they all might be thinking their own thing. They might be standing there, but experiencing and have different ideas about the same thing. But as you saw in our quality of life, just from four different people, we saw that everybody has their own unique way of experiencing life and therefore seeing and understanding quality of life for them. In this other picture with the elephant, this shows how different people might experience just the same object, an elephant. So one person might touch a different place and he's saying it's a spear. Another person saying it's a fan or a wall or a rope. Other people in the world might say it's something to gawk at in a zoo. It's something to worship, or it's something to hunt, or it's something to gain money from. So here, it's different interpretations. It's different constructions of what we call reality. And that is why when we look at this, we look at the basic assumptions of the interpretivist is that the social world is constructed. It's based on our observations, our interactions, and our experiences. So if we go back to looking at that elephant, here these people are blindfolded and they're interacting with this object, this thing, and they're seeing it or viewing it from different experiences based on where they are at that moment in time. One's on top of the elephant, one's touching something hard, one is seeing it as a barrier or a wall. So here, based on these interactions or their experiences or their observations, they are constructing their own reality. So for the interpretivist paradigm, there are multiple realities that exist. And so they're the product, like I said, of different perspectives and experiences, the lived experiences. Sources of evidence in the interpretivist paradigm are the meanings derived from exploring these perceptions, experiences, and actions. And that is where you see different data coming out to get to these meanings. And so the methods we use are often very semi-structured, open-ended questions, like you would in, if you've ever been asked just an open-ended question like I asked you at the very beginning of class. What made you decide to come to UAF? And I didn't give you a structured survey. I asked you a semi-structured question, asking you to really, think about this question and answer me based on your own narrative. It could also be observations. So for methods and examples are interviews with people, and we'll go through interviews, focus groups, observations, even looking at people's photographs might be interpretivist and allow people to construct the world for you as the researcher. And the research intention is discovery, understanding, and insight regarding the social world. And it's based on not just our own or outsider perspectives, but the experiences of the people who've lived these experiences or these interactions with the world around them. The role of the subject or participant is participant. They're an active partner in the research and a teacher. They're the knowledge knowers. We don't go in there thinking we know. We're asking people to teach us. And therefore, they're responding open-endedly based on what they know, not what you're forcing them or asking them to check off in boxes. The role of the researcher also is an active partner and a learner. Here, the researcher might actually interact with the participant or change questions based on what they've asked in the past. So a researcher might be able to say to somebody they're interviewing, I'd like to hear more about what you're saying on that point. Could you elaborate? So that goes off of a standardized survey where everybody's getting the same questions, where you're asking people to teach you. The impact of the study on participants is that they're aware of their engagement in the research process. They're part of the research process. They gain new insight into their own perspectives and the research topic. So examples of research questions from this paradigm from recent literature are, what are the viewpoints of males regarding the use of cannabis? So here you're asking for viewpoints, and it's not just one viewpoint, but viewpoints, different experiences, different ideas. How do young adults in the UK access tobacco following an increase in minimum age sales? And how do women understand coronary heart disease risk factors, including tobacco use? So you're asking how and what beyond the numbers, okay? So think about an interpretivist paradigm and a researcher from this paradigm asking a question in terms of the video that we saw, Cracking the Codes. So an example that I thought of would be asking, what is the experience of discrimination from the perspectives of women in the African American community or across several different communities? So finding out, what is it like? What is the lived experience? What is it? What is the perspective from the experts of their own experiences in terms of discrimination? And so I'm not going in there with my own ideas. I'm just trying to find out and learn from the people who've lived that experience. So I'm going to stop here, and then we'll go on to our last paradigm that we're going to cover in this week, and that is transformative.